Hello and welcome to Zambia Today. I'm your host, Alice Banda. Zambia's recent launch of the 2025 Financial Literacy Week, held from March 17th to 23rd, 2025, under the theme Think Before You Follow, Safeguard Your Money, reinforces the country's commitment to expanding access to financial services and also emphasizing the importance of adopting an informed, responsible, and security-conscious approach to managing personal finances, promoting financial prudence among Zambian citizens. And so on the program today, we are looking at the role and impact of financial inclusion on Zambia's development path, highlighting the need to explore its potential to drive economic growth. And to help us discuss this topic on set, I'm joined by Bank of Zambia Director of Financial Conduct and Consumer Protection, Ms. Frida Tamba. Madam, you're welcome to this interview.
Thank you very much, Alice.
To start the ball rolling, let's start with the basics. What is Financial Literacy Week all about?
Okay, thank you, Alice. Maybe we should start by defining what financial literacy is, and then we go into why we commemorate it every year as a country. So financial literacy is having the ability, the knowledge, the skills, the motivation, the confidence to secure positive financial outcomes for yourself and for your family. Just like here we're speaking English, we learned it, isn't it? So even financial skills can be learnt, and they help us manage our day-to-day livelihoods. They help us make decisions which help us have a positive outcome in life. They help us manage our personal finances. So financial literacy, some of the key concepts around financial literacy are issues to do with saving your money, or rather, maybe we should start with earning it first, because you have to have it to save it, isn't it? So it's earning your money, saving, investing, planning, making a personal budget. It also involves protecting yourself through insurance, planning for your future through pensions, investing your money in the capital markets. So all these things are things that people need to be aware of. So being financially literate is actually knowing some of the key concepts around this area. So through the government of the Republic of Zambia, we have a national strategy on financial education, which is actually looking at financially educated Zambian population by 2030. It's only 5 years from now. So this is the goal, to ensure that Zambians are skilled, they have the capacity to make proper financial decisions for themselves. So in light of that, the Financial Literacy Week is commemorated every year as there are a lot of maybe issues or activities that are undertaken under the National Strategy for Financial Education, but the Financial Literacy Week is one of the key ones, which is undertaken every year. And during that week, there are concerted efforts around all the stakeholders who are involved in the National Strategy on Financial Education. And there are quite a lot of stakeholders, starting from government, private entities, specifically the financial sector. I will mention the other regulators of the financial sector. Apart from the Bank of Zambia, we have the Pensions and Insurance Authority, we have the Securities and Exchange Commission. Then we also have the Bankers Association of Zambia, who play a very key role in the Financial Literacy Week, because they lead the working group of financial education for adults and all ages. So they're a key partner in this particular commemoration of Financial Literacy Week. So every year, we have an event such as this. It runs for 1 week, and it brings all these stakeholders together. There's a lot of focus on young people, specifically children. So usually it's held at a learning institution if possible. In Mazabuka, it was held at a school. So that was very good because we had a lot of learners there. And some of the objectives around Financial Literacy Week, we have financial institutions who come to promote some of their products so that the public and the general citizenry can be aware of what are the products and services which are available for them, which they can utilize to really secure the positive financial outcomes that we're talking about. So that is Financial Literacy Week in a nutshell.
Okay, Frida, could you also tell us the theme for this year's Financial Literacy Week?
Okay. So the commemoration of Financial Literacy Week is a localization of an international financial network for financial education under the OECD, which is called Global Money Week. So that's my t-shirt. So we have localized Global Money Week in Zambia. So we localized the theme as well. So this year's theme is Think Before You Follow, Safeguard Your Money. And the issue around this theme is that there's a lot of, can I say, herd mentality. You know, with social media, you just hear something, oh, you can make 10,000 kwacha, you put in 200 kwacha. People quickly follow that. And there are a lot of online scams as well. We've seen a lot of, as much as financial inclusion is expanding, we've seen some of these risks coming up. So this year's theme is saying, think before you follow. Know what is it that you're following. You know, safeguard your money, protect your money. And the slogan around this year's theme, we're talking about earning, learning, saving, and protecting. You know, so first of all, you learn. You know, then you earn. What are the ways in which you can earn your money? Then how can you save it? And when you've saved it, protect it. So to safeguard your money, think, have the knowledge around the products that are around you, the products that are being advertised, and safeguard that which you have worked so hard to earn. So that is the theme around the 2025 Financial Literacy Week.
Okay. Yes. So what makes financial inclusion a vital catalyst for economic growth as well as social advancement?
Okay. Again, I'll begin by defining what financial inclusion is, because a lot of times we talk about these words and the public may not really be aware. So financial inclusion is being able to access and use a broad range of financial services and products. Again, the end goal is to secure a positive financial outcome for yourself. So what financial inclusion means is that you are included in the financial system within a country. So you have a bank account, or you save money on your mobile wallet, and because you're able to utilize these financial services and products, then you're able to grow as an individual, as a unit, as a home, as a business. Okay, so financial inclusion is very important, not only for individuals, but it adds really to the development of this country, because the more people who are utilizing financial products and services, first of all, they're able to save a little bit more, they're able to invest a little bit more, and when you save and invest, you grow. If it's a business, you can grow slowly, and because you're using financial services. I'll give you an example, Alice. Recently, I was in Luapula for the currency sensitization. You know about our new currency, right? Yes. So we were in the northern part of the province, and we're in Chiengi, and we were listening to some citizens in that area, and were saying that you'll be able to change your money. And they said, you know, because we don't have financial services, whatever money we have, we spend it. Immediately they catch the fish, they sell it, that money they go and spend it immediately. So to me, that indicated how important financial inclusion is. Because instead of spending that money, they could save some of it. If they saved some of it, it could go towards the development of their families. So on a national scale, financial inclusion helps because as people are developing and growing, they're contributing more. They're contributing more to the national coffers. They're growing, and as our human capital is developing, it's also positive for the country. So they're also contributing to financial stability, because the more resources which are maintained in the formal financial sector of the economy contributes to larger savings, like I said, more development, because other people can use that money and intermediate it, onward lend it into developing sectors of the economy. So it's a very, very important aspect of our national development.
Let's talk about the initiatives. Are there any initiatives that Bank of Zambia, as well as the government of the Republic of Zambia, has put in place to support and drive financial inclusion efforts?
Yeah, I think there are quite a lot. I think we'll start from the government, because that is the overall umbrella, and we operate under the various policies that the government has set up. So the government has a financial sector policy, and they have the rural finance policy, and under this they have the National Financial Inclusion Strategy, under which again we have the National Strategy for Financial Education. So the government has put in place a broad policy environment to enable all these initiatives for financial inclusion to grow and ensure that we reach our target for financial inclusion, which is actually in the latest strategy, which is running up to 2028. The target is to have financial inclusion at 85%. We're currently at 69.4 at the last FinScope survey, which was done in 2020. We're actually undertaking another FinScope survey this year. So we'll be able to know how we have progressed in terms of financial inclusion. So through the National Financial Inclusion Strategy, the government has set up the umbrella. And it's a multi-stakeholder strategy incorporating the public sector, which is the government, incorporating the private sector, and incorporating NGOs and cooperating partners. So through this strategy, it's very targeted in terms of what are the initiatives which need to be undertaken. So the government has provided the overall, and they're monitoring this through the monitoring and evaluation aspect of the strategy. As Bank of Zambia ourselves, we, together with our other regulators, but maybe I'll just focus on what we as Bank of Zambia have done, we have undertaken quite a lot of initiatives to ensure that financial inclusion in Zambia is enhanced and it's growing. I think one of the biggest things, which I think we're very proud of as a bank, is the implementation of the National Financial Switch. I think, Alice, you'll agree with me, maybe you're not that old to remember that you could only, if you had an ATM card, you had to go to your bank-specific ATM. Okay, you could, and you have to look for where's my, if not, you have to walk into a branch and be able to access your money. But look at where we are now. You can send money from your bank account to a mobile wallet. You can use an ATM of any institution that is there. You can sit at home. You can do your transactions. You can do your point of sales. You don't have to carry cash, which is another thing we're promoting. So that interoperability, especially between mobile money, between the banks and merchants, is really a very big issue, a very big developmental issue in the financial sector. And it's enabled people to transact more efficiently. We're a bit concerned about the costs, but we're working on that as well. But still, you can see how much improvement that has brought about to day-to-day lives. So that's one of the things we are doing as the Bank of Zambia. Secondly, we've also, I like to talk about this because a lot of people don't know that we have a movable property registration system in Zambia, which allows you to borrow money, not only using fixed assets like land, which is usually the traditional asset that is used as collateral, but you can use movable goods like your furniture, like for farmers, they can use their stock of maize, they can use their animals to borrow from a financial service provider, which enables people who don't have the traditional collateral to access more finances. We've looked at our laws and regulations as well. In fact, as we speak, we're reviewing the Banking and Financial Services Act to make sure that financial service providers are able to promote financial inclusion in Zambia. The other thing we also do is we conduct public awareness and sensitization in partnership with all the other stakeholders I've spoken about, because financial literacy is key for financial inclusion, because it's only when you know about the product that you can actually utilize the product. So we do a lot of sensitization campaigns around the country to just inform the public and make them aware in consultation with a number of stakeholders that we have. Then one of the key things I would also like to highlight is data. We do produce a lot of data in terms of first of all, around financial inclusion, how many people are using banks, how many people are using microfinance institutions, how many people are using mobile money. So that data is very important for people to know how are we progressing and how can we improve in terms of promoting financial inclusion in Zambia. So those are the key things. Yes.
Wow, thank you so much. Very informative. Let's pause for a break.
Zambia Today is a program that keeps you informed on various government policies and programs. Join us every Tuesday at 18 hours on Zanis TV, Topstar Platform, Channel 6 DTT, and 458 DTH. Don't miss.
In case you've just joined us, you are watching Zambia Today, focusing on the role and impact of financial inclusion on Zambia's development path. We feature Bank of Zambia Director of Financial Conduct and Consumer Protection, Ms. Frida Tamba. Getting back to our interview, does financial technology, or fintech, as you put it, have a role to play in expanding and deepening financial inclusion?
Yeah, that's a very important question. I think now technology is with us, whether we like it or not. You know, it has advantages and it has its disadvantages. But there are a lot of advantages when it comes to promoting financial inclusion, because technology brings together so much. And we, like I've said already when I was talking about the financial switch, that's about technology, utilizing technology to enable interoperability between institutions. So now we've seen fintech really coming up. We've got institutions which are bringing together innovative products and services for the public to make it even easier, despite having your mobile wallet, despite having your card, making it easier for you to access different products and services, looking at what are the customer needs. So fintech is very important, and as the Bank of Zambia, what we do to promote it, we have a regulatory sandbox, because traditionally, I think as regulators, we're quite focused on traditional products and services, but we're saying, look at this upcoming area, which is able to break the barriers in a sense. So we allow them to come through the bank without the rigorous licensing that we do. They pilot their products in a regulated and controlled environment, and we see the advantages of that technology, the risks, and they're addressed, and when that is done, they're allowed to roll out into the market. So fintech is something that is very important for progressing financial inclusion. We've already seen some of the benefits, and we just expect to see more.
Okay. So what are the key obstacles hindering the full realization of financial inclusion in Zambia?
Okay, I think first of all, we've made a lot of progress from where we were when we first started measuring financial inclusion in 2009, where we were at 37%, and then 59%, and of late 69.4%. I'm very hopeful that we should be at least close to the 80s when we measure it in 2020. So despite all the things that have been done to achieve it, there are a lot of obstacles. The first obstacle is around awareness, which is why, again, financial literacy is important. If you don't know there's this product, you will not use it. Secondly, there's an issue of infrastructure. Infrastructure meaning like the towers, for example, which promote connectivity, although the government is making headway on that. So infrastructure in terms of, if it's branches of banks, infrastructure in terms of even roads for people to move from one place to another also impact financial inclusion in general. So there are a lot of issues around, there are a lot of obstacles which we're working on to promote financial inclusion even further. One of the largest obstacles which we hear when we speak to people is inadequate resources. They say they don't have money, so why should they even consider using financial services and products? But our answer to that is that even the little you have, if managed well, can bring you a better financial outcome for your life.
Okay. Are there any innovative solutions you can recommend to address and mitigate discriminatory practices within financial inclusion initiatives?
Okay, I think the first one is fintech, like we have addressed, because fintech breaks barriers. Because of technology, you're not waiting for people to come to you. You can be where the people are without having to visit them physically. So fintech is very innovative and it's inclusive because it does not discriminate. If you have a phone, you can have access to fintech. So I think those are one of the things. The second thing, which for us, we look at what is the overall enabling environment. We like to influence or promote with financial service providers customer centricity, because a lot of times customers are lumped together, like this kind of customer is one kind of customer. But if you look at what are the customer needs, develop products which are suitable for their particular needs, we'll see that financial inclusion will actually be enhanced. And this continued collaboration between stakeholders, whether it be the public, whether within the private sector, we've seen a lot of collaboration between the banks, between mobile money operators and the fintechs. This synergy brings together, it actually multiplies the extent to which financial inclusion can grow. So going forward, this is really what we want to see. Technology is the driver. Digital financial services are now the new way we do things. So just being mindful to what our customer needs and how can technology really help to meet those needs.
Okay. Yes. As we come to the end of this program, what are the projected future trends and strategic directions for financial inclusion in Zambia?
Well, we expect financial inclusion to grow because the more awareness there is, the more need there is, we see that financial inclusion will grow. I think mobile money has been a real game changer. It really has. So we've seen it increase from 14% in 2015 to 58% in 2020. I don't know where it will be now, but that's a real driver. Again, technology continues to be a driver. From the regulator side, the point of facilitating innovation through regulatory sandbox is also a driver, and the continued collaboration between private and public will continue to drive financial inclusion going forward.
Okay. So Frida, thank you so much for making an appearance on Zambia Today on Zanis TV.
Thank you for having me, Alice.
Viewers, that is all we had for you on Zambia Today. We have heard that it is important that we continue to prioritize financial inclusion as a critical driver of economic growth, social justice, and human development. By working together, we can create a more inclusive, equitable, and prosperous financial system that benefits all Zambians. And indeed, on behalf of the entire Zanis production team, my name is Alice Banda saying goodbye and thank you for watching.